What if I told you that the better you save for retirement, the more likely it's going to be that your Social Security becomes completely taxable at the highest rate? Today, I'm going to show you exactly what happens and how it happens with another typical scenario that the better you do, the more they take. It seems like that's like the common denominator here, right? And we're going to show you how John and Mary, who worked for 40 years, they paid into their Social Security their entire lives. They assumed Social Security would be either tax free or minimally taxed, right? That was what their assumption was. But then they discovered up to 85% of everything that they're bringing in from Social Security can become taxable. And the reason wasn't that Social Security itself was an issue. The reason was that their IRA was the issue, which we're going to cover today. Hello again, I'm Dr. Dylan Foster with FPP Financial, where I specialize in helping my clients achieve a tax-free retirement income. That's my main focus and what I do within my practice. So I got a question for you here. Are you relying on your Social Security income as being a major part of your retirement plan for income? If so, you may want to reconsider that strategy. The reason I say that is because right now it is projected by the year 2030 to 2032 that the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be, for payouts, depleted. And currently it's on the books. If nothing's changed or fixed before that time period, they're talking that the cuts, it looks like they're going to be as high as 28%. And that will put millions of people basically into poverty, right, that are in retirement. And that equates to, as far as for some people, an average reduction of monthly income by $145 to as much as $600 per household. All while, of course, inflation's going on at the same time, or I should say cost of living keeps going up, not down. So just imagine for a moment that you're in retirement. You're barely making ends meet as it is, but you're getting by. Great, you're getting by. But all of a sudden, your household income is reduced by $600 a month. What would you do if that happened to you? Because you didn't plan ahead for it. And if you're wondering what's likely going to happen, well, I'm pretty much assured that history tends to repeat itself, unfortunately. So let's go over some of the Social Security history. Again, I know it's a little boring, but I feel it's really important to know history because if it repeats itself, we have something to be aware of and we can plan for. So I'm going to be quick on this. So as you can see, from 1937 to 1983, Social Security wasn't taxed at all. It was designed as a source of reliable tax-free retirement income. So they kept it tax-free, okay? So you kept it something to count on. Well, all that money was kept, but the problem was people were living longer. So they're paying out more and more. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good personally. Maybe not for Social Security, though. So it's being depleted. So what do? Well, in 1984, they decided to raise up to 50% of it to be taxable. That's how they're going to save it because it's running out of money. Well, 1993 happens and they still see that it wasn't enough. They need more money because it's still running out, right? Like what's going to happen in 2032. So what do? In 94 is they raise it up another 85, up to 85% of it to be taxable. Something that was supposed to be something that we could completely rely on to be a tax-free source of income for life in our retirement to help basically have some security. Well, what's going to happen in 2027 when we know they keep raising taxes every time it starts getting depleted? Do you think they might raise it even more to maybe say 100%? Honestly, I have no idea, but it sure isn't looking good for us based off of history. So, of course, right now, Social Security is taxed up to 85% and is based on something called provisional income from when it exceeds something that is the IRS thresholds, which overall can be quite confusing and it can change literally any day at any time if they want to change it. But right now, as we know, the tax code is quite complicated, and that's part of proper planning because you can eliminate that complication through security and proper planning. That's why it's so important. So the question today is what is this provisional income, right? Let's go over this provisional income and how it will affect John and Mary. So here is the formula for provisional income. First, they take your adjusted gross income from all sources of income you have. That includes your RMDs, like John and Mary, their RMDs when they kicked in at 75. Basically, any source of income that is a taxable source of income. Real estate, income from work, whatever it is. The good news is that if you do have a source of income from coming through from like a life insurance retirement strategy plan that I help my clients with, that will not be counted on this formula. So it does not count towards this. It's exempt, if you will. But so what we do is we add that adjusted gross income to a tax-exempt interest sources of income from things like bonds. And then from there, they add 50% of your Social Security benefits. And that is the provisional income source or formula, if you will. Now, if you did a good job of saving, right, they're going to tax you more. That's the best, kind of the better you do, the worse you're going to get hit harder. Especially for those of you that don't convert to a Roth, then you can pretty much plan on being taxed at the highest level for Social Security because you didn't have much sources of tax-free income. But that can change tomorrow. We know that. It can change any day. But let's look at the thresholds real quickly and see what it looks like for the levels of income. So as of right now in 2026, if your income is below $32,000, then your Social Security is not taxed at all. Yay, not taxed at all. But you got to be really broke for that or planning properly, right? Then if it's up to from 32 to 44,000, up to 50% of it can be taxed. And that's the magic cutoff of anything over 44,000 is up to 85%. Again, that equation can change at any time. If they want to change it, they can change it in either direction for better or worse. Never seen our government do anything for better, but that doesn't mean they can't start someday. So for John and Mary, their provisional income is much higher than that 44,000. So they're definitely going to have to pay up to 85% of their Social Security income into taxes. They're going to have to pay taxes on that. Whereas years ago, that would have been 100% guaranteed sources of income that they wouldn't have been taxed on that they could rely on. So now we got to kind of make plans for ourselves. So think about this. You paid into Social Security your entire working life. You retire. Then you're going to pay up to 85% of your Social Security into taxable income, not because Social Security changed, not because Congress changed, but because your IRA was too large. That's all it was. Your IRA was too large, so it hit these chain reactions, right? Another penalty for doing so well in life. Now, the only way to protect yourself and get the most out of your money is not doing what Uncle Sam wants you to do. Honestly, you got to bite the bullet, do a strategic Roth conversion, plan ahead as soon as possible, and do this before he gets his hands on more money than he needs to. And this is all legal, of course. We want to follow the law. But bottom line is getting those taxes over and done with, I'll tell you, there's nothing that will be better for you in calming you throughout retirement. And for those of you that have 10 years or more, if you have more than 10 years, we can actually plan ahead with proper retirement strategies that can eliminate future taxable income, but get you up to typically anywhere from 2, 3, I've even seen up to 4 times more income in retirement than even what a Roth or regular IRA can get you for income. So quite a bit more, but again, it's also tax-free, and that's the important part. But here's the scary part. The taxes on Social Security aren't the end of the story, because the same income that caused your Social Security to be taxable is also being watched by Medicare. And Medicare has its own penalty system called IRMA, or Medicare surcharge, where they can actually charge you higher premiums simply because your income was too high from those RMDs that kicked in. This is a chain reaction number 3. That's what we're going to go over. Chain reaction number 3 that we're going to discuss in our next upcoming video. So please make sure to like and subscribe below. Click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on this next upcoming video, because I promise you, you're not going to want to miss these IRMA charges that a lot of people don't even know about until it's too late. And most agents today, it's not a big deal, but you're going to see it can cost you millions of dollars in retirement. So if you'd like to see what your current IRA or 401k looks like, then please click on this QR code, take a picture of it, schedule on my calendar link in this description section or on top of my YouTube page, and we'll get you set up with a complimentary, no pressure, no obligation retirement tax analysis. And you're going to do it with me personally. If you feel better, if it just feels better to review mine in the comment section, I'll contact you personally and reach out to you. So that way we can set something up. So we can see, literally when we do this, we can see what your current retirement strategy looks like on the path it's on, how much of it will be taxed, how much will be affected by those RMDs, and what will your bottom line be at the end of the, we'll give an example of a 95-year lifespan, but what will it look like for you and your family, okay? And that's through a Roth Blueprint strategic analysis. So schedule with me. I look forward to talking with you, but more importantly, stay tuned for my next video coming up.